We're back. Episode number 202. And we are going solo today.
Going solo?
Yes.
Oh,
solo.
that's right. That's right.
Are you kicking us out?
Yeah, I was going to say, what, Scott, you going to do this yourself?
Solo
okay.
albums. We are going solo albums. But first of all, we have to do our round the table shout outs or whatnot. Anybody got anything? Go for it.
Dude, Steph and I went to Utah this past weekend. She's an OU fan, Oklahoma University Sooners. Anyway, I thought we were going to get blown out. It was actually a competitive game, and we had fun. Had a real blast. Got a lot of interesting looks walking into the stadium with one guy dressed in blue and the prettier one dressed in red. But anyway, somehow we made it work. And I saw a band that I always wanted to see and never thought I'd get the chance, Mortuous. They just happened to be playing at a venue in Salt Lake City, which I'm beginning to think has a better scene than places around here, but I digress. And as I'm standing there watching the band, I feel this little tap on the shoulder, and I turn around and it's James Rivera from Hellstar. And I'm like, how random is that? And if I were a betting man, you couldn't get me the odds on that one for the life of me. But anyway, it turns out he was doing a Judas Sabbath tribute the next night. So we went right back up to the Aces High Saloon in Salt Lake City and had 2 nights of music and mayhem, and it was a blast. I had a real blast.
Cool. I saw some. The pictures look great.
Yeah.
Nice scenery on top of it.
Yeah, we had a chance to kind of explore and do some things and visit friends and family, and my parents were grateful to see us again. And so, yeah, good time was had by all. So
sweet. Steve, you got anything?
I went on Friday night and I took my wife to see the Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin evening. Man, that show was a 12 out of 10.
I told you.
Oh my God, it's so good. The Japanese guy, Jimmy, Mr. Jimmy, I can't remember what it is. It Sakamoto?
Yeah, that plays guitar.
Man, that guy is amazing. He blew me away. That show, if it's coming to your area, spend the $40 or whatever it is for tickets. It's worth every penny. It's I've been seeing some great shows lately. That's one of the best shows I've been to in a while. Man, really, really good. Next time they come, I'm going again. And then they just announced, I'm not going to go to it because the tickets are already over $400 a piece. But so Jason's teaming up with Michael Anthony, with Sammy Hagar and Steve Vai, and they're going to do they're calling it basically the Sammy Hagar, kind of the Sammy Hagar experience type of thing, but it's going to be heavy on Van Halen. So that tour's going around, and like I said, tickets here are already over $400 a piece, so I'm not going to it, but maybe if you guys can get tickets to that, it may be worth checking out.
Yeah, they're playing a venue here with that package in August, outdoors, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit outside. I don't care. Well, I wouldn't say I won't. I don't care who it is, but man, that's a hard get.
Yeah, I think they're doing the amphitheaters. All the amphitheaters is where they're playing.
Yeah,
they're doing the amphitheater here too. But yeah, it sold out in like 10 minutes, and the prices went through the roof. And it was just Sammy Hagar's not worth $400 to me. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and he's good, and I would love to see it, but I'll just wait for the YouTube video. I think at that price.
So, John, have you seen Chris Manning's Zeppelin project?
I haven't seen them yet, but I've seen the they've got a bunch of stuff on YouTube to check out, and I thought that was kind of funny when we were talking about guitarists and Chris Manning was here, that he has to sort of not necessarily dumb down his playing, but change his whole style, because Page was, I don't think, as technically sound as Chris is or was or whatever, but I'm sure it sounds. I mean, the videos sound great. I mean, it's on my list, to see in my spare time.
Right on. Yeah, I haven't seen them either. I was just curious.
No, but they're great. I check out the videos on YouTube. I mean, they're pretty. Most of the sound quality is great, and you can really get a good feel for it. Yeah.
Cool. So Fraser Dustin asked, "Have you heard the new Saxon song?" I have not. I did hear the new Molly Hatchet song. That sounded great. So, but no, I have not heard the new Saxon song yet. I also heard some of the new Priests, which sounded pretty good.
I refuse to watch it. I never watch any of the songs when they come out. If it's an album I'm going to buy, I wait till the album comes out.
But anyhow, let me. I do have a couple albums I want to show real quick because this Friday is Record Store Black Friday.
Oh, that's right.
And there's 2 releases that one of the labels I work for is putting out. This is I Wrestled a Bear Once. It's all happening.
I want the next one.
I don't know who Evan Williams. I don't know who Evan Williams is, Scott, but he just guessed my T-shirt, and man, that's a get. Hey, message me at Carcass John Art, and I'll send you some stickers.
That's the one I want right there. That's a great.
So this is X-Cops, which is basically Gwar.
Yeah.
You have the right to remain silent. If you are easily offended, don't buy this. But if you can take a joke, then you'll enjoy it. I understand that the policemen love this album, which it's all it is poking fun at police officers. Yeah. I mean, right down to the names of the band members. It's pretty.
Didn't they wear costumes for that?
No, they wear cop outfits. Yeah.
There they are in the back.
Somebody's echoing.
Check. Microphone check.
I'm not echoing. I don't hear any echo.
Okay.
But in any case, yeah, that's so anyhow, X-Cops, you have the right to remain silent, and I Wrestle Bear One, It's All Happening, but those 2 will be available on Record Store Day. They're both only 500 pressed, so I don't know how many. They're going to be hard to find. The red vinyl version of X-Cops, there also is a small quantity of blue vinyl that the band will be selling live at their shows only.
I was going to say that might enlist a call to Casey Orr himself, since he doesn't live here anymore, but we know the guy. So anyway,
in any case, that's all I really had to show. I mean, I don't need to show new stuff today, but I did want to show that because it's going to be coming up this Friday.
I did pick up one thing when I was in Salt Lake and I was, like I said, it was completely unexpected. This package that they had with Left to Die, which is Rick Ross and Terry Butler from Death, basically played the whole Leprosy album. But there was there was two packages that were kind of merged together, and one of the bands was Oryx from Denver. And if you like heavy doom, these guys kill it. And I ended up buying the vinyl, and they've got a new album in the works, and just really nice people, 3-piece, but I mean loud. In fact, Steph said, I felt my soul trying to leave my body when I was listening to them because they were so loud. But anyway, really good stuff. That's the only thing I picked up. But anyway, didn't mean to interrupt.
Have you checked out Order of the Owl?
Yes.
Local band from here.
Yeah.
Man, I saw them not too long ago. Those guys are amazing live. I wish they'd put out some albums.
I thought that they actually don't they have something?
They have a single and they have a cassette. They haven't done an album yet, though. I'm not sure why.
I thought for a minute maybe it was a bootleg. I don't know. It was at Henry's. So who knows? I mean, not a bootleg. I'm sorry, special pressing,
a European pressing.
Yes,
I did pick up the new Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, I haven't checked that out. Did you listen to it yet?
No, it just came in the mail today. Okay. I haven't even popped the plastic on it yet, but
yeah, I'm gonna order that.
It wasn't. I ordered it because I ordered it from Amazon because it was really inexpensive at the time. It may still be. It was only like $17.
Yeah.
So,
wow. How long is it? I mean, how many tracks are on it?
Let's see. We got the intro, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Killing Floor, The Wind Cries Mary, Foxy Lady, Catfish Blues, Fire, Like a Rolling Stone, Purple Haze, and Wild Thing.
Do they ever? Has he? I don't know that I have an album that's got Catfish Blues played live.
Yeah, it's 1967, the Hollywood Bowl.
Wow.
So I don't know the sound quality, but never before released performance, deluxe 12-page booklet included, unseen photos pressed on 150-gram vinyl, sourced from newly discovered 2-track soundboard recording.
Wow. For $17? That's a deal.
That's how much it was when I pre-ordered it. Yep. I don't know if it's still the same. But in any case, shall we get into our topic?
Let's do it.
I do have to I should have told you guys before the show rather than now when people were listening, but I do have to leave right on time today because I
Okay.
have an appointment.
No worries.
But right on, man. So go ahead. Somebody show us. We're talking about solo albums.
Yeah.
Oh, Alice Cooper. That's a
I had
good
to start
one.
with
I
one of
didn't
the
even think
best,
of it.
one of my all-time favorites.
Okay,
It is one of my all-time favorites too.
So just to be clear, because when you said that, I thought, well, that's kind of a neat idea. But I guess the way I took it is someone leaves their currently good, successful band and they strike out on their own to do their own thing.
Right.
Is that kind of what
Exactly.
we're looking at? Okay, good. All right. So
and that's kind of where that Alice Cooper is too, because I mean Alice Cooper basically fired his whole band and went solo.
right.
Like I said, I just went. All of mine are namesakes. They're like I thought about doing Soulfly. Their last couple albums have been really good because that is Max Cavalera. But I decided to just go with bands named after the guy. So
well,
okay.
I'll show one real quick just to get this out of the way because.
Oh dang it! I pulled that one too. you know, we have to have the Ostrich Tentacle reference for Tony Clem.
There you go. But this is so Ed Wynn, guitar player from Ostrich Tentacles. He's got several solo albums that I think I own 2 of them on vinyl.
Right.
But this is the first one that I ever purchased, and I love this album. Play it quite a bit actually. I mean, if you're an Ostrich Tentacles fan, you're probably gonna dig this. It's pretty much.
And that's a little more guitar oriented than Osric is. And, and the second one with Gray Vanderloo, it's really, really, really good. In fact, I was trying to find it, but Derek Sherinian from Dream Theater fame. I don't know.
Keyboard player.
Yeah, keyboard player. Well, he has a couple solo albums, and he's got Zakk Wylde playing on them, and Ed Wynn and Zakk Wylde play on a song on a Derek Sherinian record, and I couldn't find it for the life of me. But there's another solo artist going out on his own. But anyway,
well, anyhow, for those who are listening and not watching, the name of the album is Shimmer into Nature.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's the one I did was Welcome to My Nightmare from Alice Cooper.
Right.
We got to get better about that.
We've had numerous requests to make sure we say the names of the albums we're showing because some people can't watch, so they're listening. So I forget all the time, but I try to remember. All right, go, man. It's up.
Okay. Well,
Marcus.
This one's way off the beaten path, but one of my favorite bands is Blood Incantation, and that they've done some new ambient like stuff that have met with mixed response. But Paul Riedel, who's kind of the brain trust, puts out these ambient mixtapes every so often. There's 6 of them, and they come with these silkscreen covers, and they're really kind of cool. But there's only 100 of them, so you got to jump on it really quick. But I love these things, and so every time he puts one out, I jump all over it and buy them. So that's one of my favorite. Paul Riedel from Blood Incantation with the ambient mixtape.
Nice.
Yeah. I can keep going if you want, but
yeah, we can just keep going around and around.
I have to pull one for Rob since he's not here. Little Billy F. Gibbons. Have you guys heard this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you played it for me.
These
it's
solo
awesome.
albums are fantastic. I like these better than the last few ZZ Top albums. He's been killing it with these solos.
Have you seen the one where he's live in Cuba?
I don't think so.
They have a documentary about it, and I understood it was supposed to come out on vinyl, but I heard the set. It was phenomenal.
Is it his solo or is it ZZ Top?
No, it's him alone, and he's got a bunch of young guys helping him out.
Man, that his lineup is great, and both the albums that I've got have been 10 out of 10s. They're fantastic.
Scott, what you got?
I've got Bruce Dickinson.
Yay, Frasier with the ding ding.
I'll go ahead and show mine too. Then I actually went with Chemical Wedding.
Yeah, I like a lot of his solo stuff. But this, I don't know. There's something special about this one to me. But that one's just as good.
Yeah,
he's this one also, if I'm not mistaken, this one has Adrian Smith in it, and it's also, of course,
got
Roy Z.
These are the 2 that Adrian Smith joined the band for,
and Roy Z plays on that one too, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, Roy Z is known for his work with lots of different bands, Tribe of Gypsies, Halford, Rob Rock, tons of different artists. But yeah, interesting. The background singer on here is the singer from Seventh Sign, who
Hmm.
also ended up becoming the singer for Sign of Gypsy. What's the name of Roy Z's band?
Ugh.
Something Tribe of Gypsies. So he's the vocalist for Tribe of Gypsies as well. But he sings backup vocals on the Halford albums and on the Dickinson albums.
Well, and since you mentioned Halford, I tried to. I was hustling to get to the microphone. So, but Halford, how about that for leading a mega superstar band? Yeah, and there you go. And I think he had a pretty. I mean, between Fight and Halford, I think he was doing okay for himself.
All of the Halford albums are fantastic. I love the Fight albums. You know,
I'm not
Okay,
a big
the
fan
one,
of the Three album, but
the
What's that?
one that he did with Trent Reznor was a little the Voyeur.
Oh, I don't think I've got that one.
Oh, don't
it's not.
even.
It's
don't
just
e-
not worth getting. It's
No, don't
not,
look for
not
it.
good.
Well,
And the
Yeah.
reason it's not good is because that was right at about the time he came out and announced that he was gay. And who cares? That's your choice. Live your life. But he was thinking that the metalheads were going to all reject him, so they did this album that was totally not metal at all. I mean, just a weird. I don't know what you call it.
Well,
I
it's
guess
Trent
you call-
Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. It's not going to
Yeah,
truly be metal. It's going to be something.
I just saw something from his band before Nine Inch Nails. It was like an '80s pop band
Mhm.
that he played keyboards in. I just like 2 days ago, it popped up on YouTube. It's so out of place.
Yeah, it's kind of he's an eclectic guy, man. There's no doubt about it. Am I up next?
You're up.
Okay, how about Michael Amott and Spiritual Beggars?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
he talk about. I mean, that dude was the guitarist du jour back in the day. I mean, he left Carnage and went to Carcass, and then left Carcass and formed and was doing this for a while. And this is nothing. I won't say metal at all. It's a heavy stoner rock kind of thing, like a 3-piece.
Is that
I
one
think-
of the bands Henry's in?
No,
Oh, okay.
you're thinking of Spiritual Caravan.
Oh, Spirit
Yes,
Caravan.
yeah.
That's what it
Or
is.
Spirit
Yeah.
Caravan, yeah. No, Spiritual Beggars is kind of a heavy band. A guy named Spice singing, and then a really killer drummer from a death metal band.
I'm pretty sure I have that too. I'm just I'm confusing the two.
But then he goes on to. I mean, this is kind of his fun project, and according to this, in fact, I got this at Vaughan from him. It's on purple vinyl. It's kind of a fun, unique, one of a kind type thing. But it's got an extended version of Mushroom Tea Girl that's like a 10-minute Mad Jam version. That's what it says, and it has an unreleased track and an alternate mix of Euphoria, which appeared on the first Spiritual Beggars. So it's kind of a cool thing to have. Plus, it's signed, and we had a great time at Vaughan, and he hooked me up with some tickets. But anyway, that dude, to me, he's kind of like a Satriani type person, where he can play any style of music, heavy rock, blues, of course, metal. His riffing is incredible. So I don't know. There's one for you. Not a singer, but he's a pretty serviceable guitar player.
All right. Next up, this one's kind of obscure, but it's by a band who's not even slightly obscure. Just nobody seems to know about this album for some reason.
Well, one person does.
Yeah, I knew you would, but not a whole lot of people know this album.
Well, this
Very good
easily
note.
could have. Yeah, this easily could have been the third Boston record.
It very much could have. Yeah, it sounds a lot like Boston. I mean, he was one of the two original guitar players in Boston in 76, 78. And then this came out, 1980, 79,
Yeah.
80. But yeah, I actually like this better than most of the Boston albums that came out after Don't Look Back. So
Yeah, I agree with you.
it's heavier, it rocks hard, it's got great vocals. It really, well, not only that, but half the Boston plays on this stupid thing.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, doesn't the drummer play on here? And
Yep. Sure enough.
I'm pretty sure it's like the entire band minus
Tom Scholes.
Tom Scholes. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, it's pretty much the entire band.
Yeah. Is that Fran Cosmo, Bradley Delp, and
Yep.
yeah.
And what's his name on drums?
Seb Sebastian or Seb?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Yeah,
if you don't have that one, and you like Boston, I mean, I know it's not metal, but we said rock and metal, so it's a really good album if you like Boston.
You can find that in the cutout bin frequently. I think
Yeah,
I
it's
found
cheap.
I just found one with an orange label, and it was like $6, and it looks like it's never been played. And I love that record. I will play that as often as I play Lonesome Crow or something from Ozric Tentacles. Oops, I did it again.
Mine's on the portrait label.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
so that's cool.
Cool one, man. Yeah. Do you have that one, Steve?
No.
Are you a Boston fan?
I am. I love the first 2 Boston albums.
Okay, then you'll absolutely love this thing.
If you're rummaging through a store and you see that record, it's worth picking up.
It doesn't look like a Boston album, but it pretty much stays with any Boston record that was ever put out.
Yeah, I mean it's at least as good as, or if not, I think it's actually better than Third Stage. But I kind of like Third Stage too, but
yeah,
it just has more of that '70s Boston sound. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I would squeeze that in between Don't Look Back and Third Stage easily.
Yep. You're up, Steve.
This is from Scott's favorite band, Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell.
Oh, yeah.
This was the album where he wanted to come out and sound nothing like Alice in Chains and sounds exactly like Alice in Chains.
That's because he is Alice in Chains for crying out loud.
Yeah, most of their stuff. But I didn't like this when it first came out, and it just kind of grew on me over the years, and now it's a favorite of mine that I still pull out from time to time. So
I think he's incredibly underrated as a vocalist and as a guitar player.
Oh, yeah. I mean, insanely on both counts. Yeah, people forget that him and Lane was the lead singer, but he sang just as much as Lane did on every one of those albums.
I almost relate it to a grunge version of Van Halen because Michael Anthony and even Eddie carried some of those high range background vocals and made Roth sound a little better, a more palpable anyway.
Fraser, I do think that was the only album Gordeau released.
Actually, he did something with Brad Delp. But it's super hard to find, and I think there's only like 250 copies, and it's on CD. But I think he did it as a way to. I mean, Delp eventually committed suicide, or he was the original vocalist, right?
Yeah, he sang.
Yeah, he committed suicide because he lost his voice. So Goudreau worked with him on a couple of side projects, and it's called Delp Goudreau or something. But I'll have to dig him out, and then I'll show him next week. But I didn't even think about that until now. But
I think you're up, John.
Oh, I am? Okay. How about Mr. Phil Anselmo? When he left Pantera.
Was that Necrophagist or the Bastards?
And he did all that stuff. And here's one of my favorite. This is a little obscure. It's more punk. He plays guitar in this band. And I saw him here in Fort Worth one time, Arson Anthem. But, I mean, he's got Down. He's got Christ Inversion. He's got Super Joint.
He has to have at least a dozen bands that he did on the side.
Phil Anselmo and the Illegals,
and not just singing. He played guitar, wasn't he? Didn't he play guitar in Necrophagist and a couple of other ones?
Yeah, well, he played on that Arson Anthem.
Yeah.
And in fact, is it Mike Williams from I Hate God? He was the lead vocalist, and this had Hank 3 on it.
And, Hank 3 was Super Joint Ritual too.
Right. So so there's a guy that kind of just left the pack and said, "See, I'm gonna go have some fun." And
horns up, Damien hair metal.
Right on. Ooh, Viking Crown. There's a killer band. I like them too.
So here's another one. This is actually probably the one that gets the least love, but it's actually my favorite. But Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill.
I knew I knew you would bring that one up, Scott. I didn't even pull Danzig.
I didn't pull Danzig either, but I don't have any Danzig, so.
Yeah, I love this. This is my favorite album of his.
Seen him live a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, saw him live a couple months ago.
Did you bring your mother? No, you didn't bring her with you? No? Okay.
I couldn't decide which solo album I wanted to show by this artist, but Mark Farner, Grand Funk.
Man, I almost pulled the Mark Farner. Yeah, that one right there. So, yeah, we're on the same page. And you want to talk about an underrated guitarist and singer? I think, man, that dude's... I think they made a huge mistake by parting ways. mean, not that
Oh,
the
so
new
do I.
rendition is that bad, but you know,
Well, they got Kulik now, who's pretty badass himself.
yeah,
but-
of course.
Yeah. Yep, he's a great guitar player. But anyhow, he's got a bunch of solo albums out too. That's not even all of them, but just a lot of them are impossible to find on vinyl or not
Right.
available on vinyl. So,
Right.
and no Danzig Shame. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Sorry, just not my thing.
Not a huge fan either. Well, I'm not. I'm just not a fan.
Yes, whoever said this one, Vicmania. I didn't think about pulling that one. I should have pulled that one.
That's
But
a
George
good one,
Dixon
yeah.
from Leviticus. That's a really good one. Yeah.
Hmm.
I
I
don't know
thought
how
about
forgot that.
pulling what's his name from Phillips, the one that you did vocals on 2 of the songs.
Oh, Michael Phillips. Yeah, Mirror
Michael
Within
Phillips.
Mirrors.
I thought about pulling that one out, but I already had a pretty good stack.
What? I'm not sure what that means, but okay. He read my
think
shirt,
he-
so I'll give him some props.
Yeah.
Here, how about this? David Lee Roth,
Yeah.
Edelman Smile.
That's a
I
great
have my
one. I love
copy
that album.
right. I don't know if you can see it. It's right.
Oh yeah,
there.
yeah. But
Hang on.
but
Hang on. We're gonna make you bigger.
can make
can
me
do
bigger.
this. I can
No.
make him bigger so he can show
Right.
us.
Yep.
There it
I
is.
see it. Yep. Up in
Right
the top
there.
right
And
corner.
actually, that one's the Billy Gibbons, the signed copy, and then the David Lee Roth is signed by Steve Vai.
Right on. So I have the regular one, and how about this? How about the Spanish
Spanish.
version?
Oh, that's
from
cool. I've
Maricia
never-
Salvaje, which is interesting because Edelman Smile is in English, but Sonrisa y Salvaje means smile and save yourself. So I don't know why they changed the meaning of that, but and
Sounds
you know
cool.
what? He actually could pull it off. He actually sounds good singing in Spanish.
I've
But-
never even heard that one. I'd love to.
Dude,
own it.
it's
Something
so
maybe one of
awesome.
these
In
days.
fact,
I like when the artists don't just do the cover; they actually do the language. I've got a bunch of copies of Bowie singles in like 7 different languages that he did songs in, and they all
Yep.
sound fantastic.
yep. Yeah, I love that. And in fact, it's funny to listen to it in Spanish because not a lot of it's a direct translation, but some of it is. And that's the weird thing about Spanish, which I'm fluent in, is that sometimes there's not an exact match. And I'm sure it's the same in Portuguese there, Steve. But anyway, it's just kind of funny how they do the workaround to get to that same meaning, so to speak. But anyway, kind of fun.
Who's up?
You, Steve?
Steve, I think. Yep.
I'm surprised nobody's shown this one yet. Not this album. This is this might surprise people. This is actually my favorite album from Dio, but Strange Highways.
He's on the list.
Love this album.
I couldn't decide. There's so many great Dio albums, solo albums, and
Actually,
went for the one-
didn't Roy Z do some time with Dio too?
Mhm.
Craig Goldie, Roy. He's had a ton of killer guitarists.
Yeah. But yeah, this
This is
is
the one-
such an underrated album. If you guys haven't checked this one out, this is fantastic.
I mean, I saw
Jesus
Dio
Mary
in
and the
his
Holy
tour.
Ghost. I think is the best song that Dio ever wrote.
I saw Dio at a small club when this album came out, Twisted Sister opening. So this one always has like a special place just because I saw him on the tour, and it was a little place. Nobody even knew who he was at the time.
Well, I knew
Wow.
somebody was going to pull that record too, so that's why I went with Strange Highways is my favorite, but
Yeah.
I almost pulled the Dio.
It was funny because he played in Philadelphia at the Tower Theater. It was a packed house, but Tower Theater is not a big place. And then the very next year, he came back with Twisted Sister again and sold out the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Anyhow, but I'm up, right? So let me pull one. This one's another one. I don't know how many people know this guy or care about his solo
That's
stuff,
Steve
but I
Marriott.
really
Steve
like
Marriott
this
of Humble Pie, of course we know who
Pie.
he is.
Oh my god, such a great band.
I thought about pulling Peter Frampton too, but really I'd be pulling Frampton Comes Alive. But I think this is a great
Frampton
album.
right there. I got Humble Pie right here too.
Kind of an interesting concept too, because you see the American flag and the British flag. So half the album is recorded with American musicians, and the other half is recorded with British musicians. So kind of interesting.
Fun.
I like it a lot. But
You talk about a soulful bluesy guitar player. Holy cow!
Both
Yeah.
of them. That was just such an amazing match. Him and Frampton.
Yep. How about this?
you're up against.
D.
I
Snyder.
knew somebody had to pull D. Snyder. on this show, especially since we've had his band members on here.
Yeah,
This is a fantastic album. If you guys haven't checked this one out,
dude,
it's
it
so
rips. It does. It rips.
good. I was hesitant to buy it because he's had so many bad albums and singles come out over the years.
And if
This
since
and
we're
the
talking
album before, they're both fantastic.
since we're talking about the members of his band, how about that? This is
Yep,
Charlie
pretty-
Nikki Belmore, who also played in Twisted Sister, who also played in Toxic Holocaust and kind of struck out on their own. And now they're in the midst of they have a new band called Mini Eyes, not like mini like tiny, but many like
Manny.
a whole bunch. You should check that out. It's pretty cool. But yeah, that D. Snyder rules, dude. He's certainly resurrected his career.
I was shocked when I saw that he wrote the songs because the album before that,
Josta
Jamie Josta wrote a lot of it, and I thought that this sounded more like Jamie Josta than Dee, but apparently he wrote everything on this one.
Well, in fact, Charlie wrote the music, but Dee wrote the lyrics and then did the vocal pattern. The first one, Charlie wrote the music, and Jamie wrote all the vocals, and then said, "Hey, Dee, come in and record this. Here's your lyric sheet."
I guess I'm up next.
Yep.
Fraser Dawson called this one on me, but
Yeah.
Hey, I knew you were going to pull that, so I didn't.
I mean, I could have pulled the second album too, but you like an album when you have many copies. I have this on 8-track and cassette and
Of course you do.
CD and vinyl, and got the Japanese pressing, and then I've got the gold stamp promo pressing, white label with the promo photo in it.
Did
And
you
then, of
also
course,
pull the Whitford St. Holmes?
I was going to, but I didn't because I had so much stuff. But I thought about it. Did you pull it?
No. I figured you were going to pull all the
But
Aerosmith.
you wanted to.
I was going
Did
to
you
pull
pull
the
the
second
Steven
album
Tyler
actually, but
Country album?
no, I don't even own it.
What? Come on, Scott. I thought you were the completist. The Aerosmith completist.
Yeah, that's not Aerosmith.
7,007 inch from Aerosmith, including the Japanese, the German, the Turkish, the Israeli.
Yep. But nope, don't have that. I lie. I have it on CD. I don't have it on vinyl.
Here's an album I've never seen anybody show or talk about, but it's a fantastic album. Belladonna.
Well, that first one is killer.
Yeah,
The second one, man, what happened?
No, this
Do it
one.
again.
This one is fantastic.
Yeah, that one's good. I like that one quite a bit, actually. Yeah. What? Oops. Sorry.
Whoa.
You're back. Yeah, the second one, it's like, I can't even listen to it. It's so bad. It's like, what was he thinking?
Maybe he wasn't. I don't know.
I've done many lists online. People asking what is the worst metal albums ever, and that's one that always makes my list. Is that second Belladonna album? But the third Belladonna solo album is actually good. So,
I didn't know there was a third one.
He completely lost me on the second one. So yes, I didn't know there was a third one either.
But yeah, if you run I mean, I've never seen this in stores. It's probably been a decade or two since I've seen a copy, but it's a great album.
Oh, I guess I'm up again, huh?
Yeah. Just be up.
I didn't pull that either because I'm pretty sure Scott was going to.
What's that?
Doug Pinnick.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
Didn't?
Okay.
I thought about it because I really like the Pound Hound stuff.
Oh, actually, I got that right here.
Oh, there you go.
Ian Gillan.
Gillan band.
I love Gillan the band. I like the Ian Gillan band, but I prefer Gillan the band. There you go.
Is that the one
That's
with Roger
Gillan,
Glover?
Gillan Glover.
Yeah,
Yep.
Gillan Glover.
But I like all the Gillan albums, but this is probably my favorite of the bunch. This is the I don't know if do you guys have this album?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's two different versions. There's the US version of this is lame. This is a 2-album set. The US pressing is a single album set.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So yeah, it's missing this. It's missing the second album, but it's also a nice, what do you call the embossed cover and everything. So it's really nice. But anyhow, yeah, this was Gillan with come on, help me out here. What's the bass player's name?
Roger Glover.
No, McCoy. Come on, he played in a bunch of different bands. Anyhow, those two guys were the main guys, but they also had John McCoy. Bernie Torme was a guitar player on this
Ah.
album, and then he played on several other albums. And he was later replaced by Iron Maiden guitar player Prancer.
Yannick Gears?
Yes, he played on the last two Gillan.
Oh,
Really?
really? I didn't know that.
And Gillan, the band, that was the only members who changed. Everybody else was steady, and they stayed steady. Colin Towns on keyboards and Mick Underwood on drums on all the Gillan albums. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Gillan. He's one of my favorite vocalists, but I really like the style they did here too, because it was clear they were going for the new wave of British heavy metal style, whereas this was more of a jazz fusion.
Yeah,
rock.
Yeah.
I like that album.
I like this album. That's why I said I like these albums, but I love these albums. So
That's actually my least favorite from the Ian Gillan band, but I think the first Ian Gillan band with the blimp on the cover is the best one. The jazz fusion.
I like them all, but I just happened to pull one just to show it. But I mean, either way, great vocalist. Just very different styles of music. It's funny though, because even the Deep Purple tracks that they do in the live records are changed up very much so to the point where they become like, mixtures of blues and jazz and everything in there. So
Sure.
Anyhow, your turn.
Well, Vic Mania named Gary Moore, and I just happen to have.
I was going to pull that one too, but I knew somebody was going to grab it.
Victims of the Future, but that's not what I was going to show.
Moore too, but
yeah,
I was going to show this.
Oh yeah,
Gary Moore.
That's a Both. Yeah, that was a very tempestuous exit from Immortal, and both bands have landed on their feet. But I love Both. I love the vocals. Guy's a riff master. I've seen him live 3 or 4 times, and he just doesn't ever disappoint. And he's kind of a weirdo, but
I remember when they came out. Their drummer was the fastest drums I had ever heard in my life. Oh my god, it was so good.
Oh, that's a good one too. I didn't think about that one. Vic Mania said the Don Dockett record he did with John Norman, Mickey D.
Is that Lightning Strikes? I can't remember which one he did. Speaking of that type of music, though, I pulled this one. I just listened to this a couple days ago, and I forgot how good this was. But Vince Neil, his solo album with Steve Stevens.
Huh. I would have never
guessed.
guessed.
Guitar.
What's that?
It's not. I like it better than a lot of the Crew albums.
Yeah, no, it was. When they split up, I wasn't expecting anything good to come out of Vince Neil, and I avoided this one for probably 5 or 6 years, and finally grabbed a copy. I don't think he wrote most. I think Steve Stevens wrote a lot of it. Who's more famous for Billy Idol than anything, but really good album though.
What do we got? We still got more time, so who's up?
Oh, yeah.
You're up, right?
Oh, I don't know. I think since you moved me, now we're all bass backwards.
I know we're all messed up.
But I'll show something. How about this guy? Has he had a pretty good solo career?
Yep. And
I have to show this one.
I still love that album. I play it a lot.
I have to show this for Steph because she loves Phil Collins. It's one of her guilty pleasures, and why not? The guy is pretty awesome, writes phenomenal songs, and even the stuff with Genesis. I mean that talk about a stacked lineup with Hackett and Rutherford and then Phil Collins. I mean, good grief. So yeah, there's a guy that's probably succeeded okay.
I play that album a lot. I really like that album. I think that from that album alone, I probably have like 10 7-inch singles from.
Yeah, I'm guessing you do, and I have several versions of that too, just like you. I've got the American pressing, the British pressing, a German pressing, obviously the Japanese pressing. But anyway, love that record.
All right, let me pull another one over here. I'm gonna show 2 actually because these are somewhat related.
Okay.
It was hard for me to pick only one from this guy because
I was gonna pull that too, and I was
gonna pull that one too.
But I also really like the Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Well, I have a pretty tight connection with that whole thing that when it went down, and yeah, I mean he's great. He's just kind of a self-destructive dude, and kind of wiped that out. Douche? Well, that too. I didn't.
And I love that back cover. Robert Fleischman, of all the singers to pick for your band, for a hard rock heavy metal band, Robert Fleischman, and his whole look was just so wrong.
He looked like an 80s pop, like a new wave guy, like a flock of seagulls.
Especially compared to especially compared to that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Well-
come on, the dude's literally got his pants painted on.
I know Bobby personally, and he did not like that. And then he jumps out of that. Bobby Rock jumps out of that into Nitro, and
Right.
he's just like, "I've had it."
Which
So
is
he
even
goes
more over the top. Yeah.
right. So he goes to play with Rare Earth and Alice Cooper, just trying to get his senses back.
But then you also have, well, some people may not be happy about that, but then you have Slaughter that came out of that band too.
Yeah,
I like, I avoided Slaughter like the plague when they came out because
I like
the first song that came out was that "Fly to the Angels" track. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, come on. But what made me a fan again was, I mean, I love the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. What made me a fan was I went to see Ted Nugent and Quiet Riot and Slaughter were opening, and Slaughter played first, and they were amazing. Danish
Yeah.
Drum was a beast on stage. So anyhow, they played "Fly to the Angels," of course, but the rest of the catalog was, the concert was heavy and just great.
Fraser
So yeah,
Dawson.
I like them.
Fraser Dawson pulling out the Canadian Slaughter, not like the American Slaughter at all.
I love the Canadian Slaughter too.
Yeah, I do too.
I've actually got everything from him signed. What's the guitar? The main guy's name? From
The Canadian Slaughter.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I bought a copy of the first or the main Slaughter album off of eBay, and this was like 15 years ago. And he sent me an email. He's like, "Hey, do you want me to sign it?" And I had no idea who it was. I was like, "Who is this?" And it was the main guy from the band. And I was like, I'll take a copy of everything you got. So I've got a bunch of singles and EPs that he had, and made a big deal. He signed all of it. It was really cool.
Are they the reissues? Because
some are originals and some are reissues.
I have the original of Strapato, and that's probably my favorite of the Slaughter.
Well, in the demo, and the demo version of Strapato, it's Strapito. He sings Strapito, and then it's Strapato in the LP, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
So next up for me is a little bit of Zakk Wylde, his first step out after Ozzy with Pride and Glory, which
that's
is
a good record right there.
I like all the stuff that Zack's done. I thought about grabbing some Black Label Society, but decided to go with this one instead.
Doesn't he do a Sabbath track on that? He does The Wizard.
That's the Southern Rock album right there.
Yeah.
I thought he did The Wizard on that. Well, maybe it was on another one of his.
Well,
Anyway.
He's got the Book of Souls, Volume 1 and 2 that are actual Zakk Wylde. He's got Zach Sabbath. Oh, I didn't think about Paul Di'Anno. Oh man, I should have grabbed Di'Anno.
Yeah.
Everybody hates that Di'Anno album, the AOR album that he did. I'm not a fan of AOR. I love that album. That first album he did after he left Maiden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the Battlezone stuff is great.
So who's up now? Oh, I just showed it, Ace and Vinny. So you're up.
Ooh, good one. I didn't even think about that.
He left at 18 years old. He left Procol Harum. He'd been playing that with them for 3 years. Went out on his own, and this is everyone thinks this is his first album. This is actually his second. And but man, this is a powerhouse. I spin this on a regular basis. This is just amazing. It's like that Barry Goudreau. You're just so shocked how great it is. And yes, sir, the latest is spectacular. And it's bluesy.
It's very, very bluesy.
Well, I want to show some Robin Trower too.
Yeah.
There you go.
At least, yeah, I'll agree.
The
we can all agree on
singing
that.
on here is great.
Oh,
I
and
really
actually, I had the Gary Moore sitting there too. A nice Japanese pressing.
Oh, there you go. See, we're all in tune. And I'm getting down to my last 4 or 5.
Yeah, I've got one left.
I've got a couple left, but yeah, we need to get moving.
Actually, I got 2 left because I got one for Scott. But
you want me to show another one since I've got 5 left?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here, I'll show this one for Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, he did strike out on his own after the Amboy Dukes.
You sure
Not
did.
just that. That's one of the best rock and roll albums of all time. I mean, just straight up, really killer rock and roll.
I just saw him on Instagram. He was doing an interview on Instagram, and he said that someone said that every time they play Stranglehold, it brings tears to their eyes, and Ted said it does to mine too. I mean, this is preeminent, man. I love this record. And he was young when he went solo. I mean, everyone thought he was nuts for leaving Amboy Dukes because they were huge at the
He was
time.
a young guy too, wasn't he? Like 16 or 17
Yeah.
when he started playing with bands.
Yep. So
Brian
I'm sure-
McFadden said no Sabbath. Yeah, we showed Dio. It's funny because I bet none of us pulled Ozzy because when we were doing our little chat back and forth discussing this week's topic,
that was our
I said,
example.
for example, Ozzy Osbourne. So I
Yeah.
kind of figured, I have a feeling no one's going to pull that because I said that. Okay, I got another one here. I really couldn't pick a favorite because I like these. I think these first 4 albums are just flawless.
Yeah, I was gonna pull that album. I love Animal House.
But I could easily go with any of those albums from the 80s and early 90s. They're all great.
Even the last couple he's put out have been really good.
I pretty much like his catalog. It's just
Yeah.
when he was getting into that, for a little while, he was getting into that symphonic stuff. And I don't really want to, if I want to hear, Udo, I don't want to hear a symphony. That's just me anyhow. So,
Okay, Brian was referring to there's no Sabbath cover on the Pride and Glory.
oh, okay.
I was mistaken.
Oh, and actually, somebody mentioned Diano. Was it Murder One? The album he did in like '91.
Yes, that's really good too.
Man, that is the best Iron Maiden album not done by
I think-
Iron Maiden. It is so.
If I'm not
freaking
mistaken,
good.
doesn't John Gallagher play on that album too?
I don't even know who all's on it, man. I was blown away when I heard that for the first. I must have listened to that 30 times when I first ran across it. It was so good, I just played it over and over again.
I remember hearing the Killers Live album with Diano's Killers Live, and I'm like, the background vocals. Every time the background vocals, I'm like, that's John Gallagher singing. It's got to be John Gallagher singing. Finally looked it up, and I'm like, sure enough, John Gallagher. Eric Mann said Stephen Patrick's Red Rain. I agree. I mean, if you like Holy Soldier, that is pretty much the third Holy Soldier album. It's really well done.
Isn't that the one that he was selling for like $150?
Yeah, it was originally released back in the early '90s, and then he put it out on vinyl, and it's
He wanted
really,
it for like
unfortunately-
$150 and like $180 signed or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they did it really cheesy and cheap too. Instead of actually, because it wouldn't fit on one record, so they had to do a double album. Instead of putting out a gatefold or a double wide spine, they put it on 2 LP covers, and the covers are the same.
Yeah, it was insane.
It's just it's cheap the way they did it. And then I think the cheapest price was you can get one for, I think it was $150, and then signed for 200 or something like that.
It was insane.
But-
Yeah, I would have
but-
loved to buy the record because it's a great album. But yeah,
I didn't buy it either, and I love it. And I've met the guy, and I love his music. But yeah, I didn't buy it. I just keep my original CD. So anyhow,
so here's one for Scott. Speaking of
yes,
a little bit of
You guys are
Okay,
one of the ones I have
yes.
left here.
glass
got
harp.
Not that this is my favorite album, but I literally just got this reissue. This is a 3-disc set of his What a Day album, celebrating, was it 40 or 50 years of thing this been
He
out?
was in like a doo-wop band or something before Glass Harp too.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, and he was very successful with Glass Harp, and then went out on his own and put out a bunch of great albums. My favorite album from him is Master and Musician. It's absolutely brilliant album. John, if you don't have that album, you would love it.
Okay, I'm making a
Master
note.
and Musician by Phil Keaggy. It's
Okay.
got I don't want to compare him to Ozric Tentacles because this doesn't sound anything like Ozric Tentacles, but it's got a vibe like that. if
But
that
I do
makes
like the
sense.
fact that you've mentioned Osric Tentacles for the 5th time in this episode. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyhow, this just came out too, by the way, if anybody cares. This is What a Day 3 LP 3 CD version of it. So it's got the
Yeah, that's a lot.
remastered version that was remastered by our buddy Rob.
Yeah.
Then it's got a bunch of new stuff they recorded in the studio in 2023. And then it's got all the demos and outtakes on the 3rd disc, and it's got 20 tracks
Wow.
of demos and outtakes.
That's
So,
pretty crazy.
pretty
how
cool
many-
collection.
How many you got left, Scott?
2. Go ahead. I'm gonna
Okay,
get up
I
for
got,
just 2 seconds.
I got 4. How
Go
about
for it. Go
Jeff Beck?
Ooh, I didn't even think about Jeff Beck
'Cause
either. Oh my
he was
god.
in Faces and the Yardbirds and I think he did okay for himself out on his own.
You
and,
think?
and I think that and we've discussed this before. This probably is one of the preeminent jazz fusion records ever made. Rivals anything that Chick Corea and Return to Forever did. But anyway, I love this record, and I have multiple. I have the 8-track too, Scott. 8-track cassette, reel to reel, Japanese pressing, two Japanese pressings, with the different Obi strips, and I'm insane. I'm insane for that stuff. Okay, I got three more. What you got? Can we show another one? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to pull that one too, but I knew you would pull it, so I love that.
So this is my original pressing. I've had this one forever on Warner Brothers. This was the picture just came out on
That's such
Phonogram.
an underrated album.
I mean, it's got some tracks that have a Lizzy vibe, but it really did stretch out and step out and try something new. But he's just a good. I'm a big fan, but I just think he's a great songwriter. Holy crap! How did I miss that one, Scotty Adams?
Oh gosh, they're just too much. But yes, Peter Gabriel. I mean, we just talked about Genesis, for crying out loud. With Phil Collins.
Peter Gabriel 3 is I absolutely love the third Peter Gabriel solo album, but I like all the first four are just brilliant.
And I left the one of the Steve Hackett's in there that basically has Kansas as his backup band. He's got Kerry Livgren and Dave Hope.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
And Steve Walsh singing. And
thanks, Gary, for watching. Appreciate it. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
He's just giddy about the freaking Eagles.
I was going to pull that Gary Livgren too, but I forgot to pull it.
That one, the second one has Dio singing a track on the B side.
Two tracks.
On 2 tracks, yeah.
Oh, 2 tracks. That's right.
Yeah, yep. Scott actually found the single for that and sent it to me.
Yeah,
Scott, the 7-inch hound. He can find
always looking for
a 7-inch vinyl anywhere.
Singles. So, anyhow, I got one more, and then you can go. Then it's all you.
Okay, I got 3 left.
I got one more too.
Okay.
Dude,
he's on my list. I actually made a list. You know, Sammy Hagar's on my list.
You're not going to show that one, Scott?
Nice. Yep, that's another solo album. Heathen's great guitar player.
That's not the one. That's on my last one, but I just happened to have that sitting next to me.
Yeah, I've got
the other one. The other one that I have sitting here, which I wasn't going to show, but since we talked about it at the beginning, was it's not truly a solo album, but after Brian Robertson left Thin Lizzy and what's his name, bass player? I forgot his name. It's on here somewhere.
Give me a minute.
Jimmy Bain. Jimmy Bain left. Jimmy Bain was ceremoniously kicked out of Rainbow. The two of them were best friends or good friends, so they ended up.
Second Wild Horses is.
They were living together, and they put out 2 great albums under the name Wild Horses.
The first one sounds a lot like Thin Lizzy, but the second one is something their own, and it's a killer album.
And they released 3 singles, 7-inch singles too, on top of it. So really good. But again, not really a solo album because it's 2 guys, but you know, whatever.
So here's my last one. I showed this a couple weeks ago. This one came up, but David Wayne, Metal Church.
Yeah, dude, I love that record.
Fantastic album. This is a must. If you're a Metal Church fan, this is a must-have.
Talk about a backhanded compliment too.
Oh yeah,
you leave the band and then you call the title of your record Metal Church.
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
3 more, and these are all shredding guitar guys. How about Michael Schenker?
Yeah,
he went on to do some cool stuff. How about Frank Marino?
He wasn't in the band though.
What band was he in before? That's because I love Frank Marino. I almost pulled him, but I'm like,
he was 17 when on the first Mahogany Rush album. He wasn't in a band before that.
All right,
but actually, you could have gone. I mean, it was Mahogany Rush. You could have pulled out a Frank Marino solo album and said the same thing, right?
I guess so. Okay,
here's my Mahogany Rush and then Marino.
Here's my last one.
I thought about that too. He was in other bands, but they weren't very. He was in the background though, but
he was in Curtis Knight. He was in a lot of bands.
He was in with Ike and Tina Turner too.
Ike and Tina Turner, Curtis Knight. I'm trying to think who else. There were a couple others too.
It was kind of a reach, but you know what? That's one of my favorite guitarists, and I think he paid his dues. I mean, it wasn't like that. In fact, he had to go to another continent.
Yeah, he had to go to another country to make it big. He wasn't getting picked up here.
Okay, this is very interesting with our last 6 minutes here.
Well, I'm actually going to see Kerry King at the Welcome to Rockville Festival. I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm not a huge Kerry King fan in general. I think he's kind of a douchebag,
and he's a kind of a hack guitarist.
I like Slayer. Don't get me wrong. I've never been a fan of him in general.
No, I haven't either. But that's beside the point. let's see, a couple of guys that we didn't talk about that made the list. I kind of thought in reverse. Chickenfoot, like 4 guys left their band, their current bands, and Satriani was like touring as himself, but then he got into a band, so he kind of did the reverse thing. Richie Blackmore. No one mentioned him, or did we mention him?
We didn't, but Rainbow was really his solo project.
Yeah, that's what I mean. How about
Satriani? Yeah, Satriani started off solo. Vi too. Satriani and Vi have been in so many freaking bands.
But I mean, Hagar was with Montrose, and then he left and was struck out on his own. Then got into Van Halen, then left and became Hagar again. I mean, Tale of Two Cities. How about King Diamond?
Yeah, I thought about pulling Abigail
or Yngwie. He was in Steeler and some other stuff, and then he went solo.
Yeah, you see they're doing Steeler for Record Store Day on Friday.
Yeah, I did see that. Let's see, Rob Zombie. Someone mentioned Rob Zombie to me, and I thought, I give him some credit, I guess.
What did you say was on Record Store Day?
They're redoing Steeler for like $40. And now you can get
Steeler?
$15 in mint condition.
Yeah. How about David Gilmour?
Yeah, I was going to pull David Gilmour and Roger Waters and decided not to. I wanted to lean more
on the heavy stuff,
on the heavy side, you know.
Okay.
I thought about pulling Rory Gallagher too.
Matter of fact, here's
my all-time favorite guitar
some
player.
Some of the ones I wrote down but didn't pull. Yuli Roth. I like his electric. I love his Electric Sun stuff.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
John Elefante. His On My Way to the Sun album is brilliant. If you like prog rock.
And he and his brother spent time in Kansas too for a while, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. What else is on here? John Anderson from Yes has some fantastic solo albums.
Yep.
I didn't pull him for the same reason.
Speaking of John Elefante,
Mastodon 3. Yep.
Oh wow,
that's a great album. James Murphy.
Oh wow, yeah. There's and his solo album is really. Didn't he have 2?
I think he's got at least 2, if not more.
At least 2, if not 3. Man, he is a phenomenal guitarist. He's a little bit of a weirdo, but he's. We could claim eclectic.
Eric Clapton. Yep, that's another one I almost pulled.
This is the only album. I'm not a big Eric Clapton fan. This is the one album of his I really like.
Yep.
How about Warrell Dane?
Yep.
I don't have his solo albums. Otherwise, I'd have pulled them.
They're a little kitschy. I'm not sure about the Warrell Dane stuff. I'll probably have to go back and readdress them. I bought them because I'm a Nevermore fan, but it was such a departure from the band that I just thought.
And
I really liked it, especially the first one. But it was mostly written by that. I'm trying to remember the name of the band. I keep thinking Soylent Green. That's not right. But
that's a great band.
Yeah, that is a great band.
Anyhow,
the other one I was thinking about, Bit Bop Boom talked me into buying the Brian Wilson album after he left the Beach Boys. That was a really good album too.
Mm-hmm.
I also wrote down Peter Frampton, who I didn't show.
Yeah.
I also wrote down Phil Collins. Didn't pull it, but that's awesome. What is that?
Frampton Comes Alive, the deluxe edition.
No. What's on the deluxe edition? Is there more songs?
Like 2 more albums of live stuff, maybe?
No, it's got 1, 2, 3 additional tracks from the show that weren't on the actual album.
I always find it odd he never ever does Steve Marriott. He never does Steve Marriott. He never does Humble Pie stuff as Peter Frampton.
Really, which sucks because his Humble Pie stuff is my favorite. I love his Humble Pie stuff more than anything else that he ever wrote.
Yeah.
That Humble Pie self-titled album is, I think, one of the best albums of all time. Is
that the one with the keyhole on the cover? The die cut?
No, that one, he's not on that one. That one's Steve Marriott with the keyhole. No, it's got like a little, a drawing of a woman, like actual, just a pencil drawing type of deal.
I'll have to do a little research because I've kind of been doing the blues thing since that Robin Trower record has been spinning over and over and over again. That new one.
Yeah, I heard that lady's voice. There's just something about it. She's got a little bit of a grit that I really enjoy.
She's got a sizable catalog of music too, so you need to delve into that.
Ooh, Eric, that's a good call. Kurt Weinstein, his album is really good too. I forgot about that one.
One of your favorite people, not Michael Sweet.
Michael Sweet.
His last album, or maybe 2 albums ago, when Stryper first got back together and started doing albums again, is basically another Stryper album. It was fantastic.
No, have you heard the Lynch Suite or the Sweet Lynch?
No, I never grabbed it.
There's first 2 or 3 tracks are fantastic, and then it just kind of fades.
No, the
I
one
just
before that. Oh yeah, that's the Sweet Lynch. That's the second one.
I just got this because it was really, they had them going really cheap on Amazon or
Yeah.
eBay, one of the two. I don't know.
Maybe you could
I
ask
haven't
if you
even
could
popped plastic on
remaster
it
it and
yet.
put it out again.
George
So,
Lynch is
anyway.
funny though. His stuff is hit or miss. I
Yeah,
love
I
some of
agree.
his stuff, and some of it's just complete throwaway. So I'm
Yeah.
always
the third Lynch Mob album is brilliant.
well, like he did that. What was the band he did with Doug Panique? KL something.
Yeah, there's
I
one of
said-
those.
Yeah, I know what
Pinnacle-
you're talking about, but
There's
I
one
can't
of those
remember it.
Pinnacle projects that has just initials, and that thing really is good.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. It's him and Pinnock, and the first album is a 10 out of 10. I didn't like the other 2 as much. I ended up sending them to Scott, and he really liked them. But that first one was really good. It's them and the drummer from Korn.
Yeah,
There we go.
Ray Lucier.
KXM. Thanks,
AXM,
Cameron.
thank you.
Yep.
Right on. All right. Well, we need to get going because it's already been an hour and I got to fly. So
1 minute and 45 seconds.
anything anybody needs to say before we do our
Nah, man.
usual sign-off?
Thank us as always. We're
I will
just
be spending Black Friday taking my daughter to see Kiss for the first time and the
Cool.
last time, I guess.
you're a good dad.
Enjoy. That's everybody's saying it's been really good and that they sound great. And he's not using backing tracks, and you can hear his voice cracking here and there, which is a good
Well, when
thing.
I
not a
saw
bad
him
thing.
last year or the year before, me and my wife went. He only used. You could tell he was using tracks when he went to the second stage because his voice got perfect all of a sudden. But when he was on the main stage the whole time, you could hear his voice was not. I mean, they were using backing tracks for the backing vocals and stuff, but his actual singing, you could tell he was singing.
I think I'll go spend Dress to Kill in your honor.
Right on.
Okay.
All right. Well, you know how we all do it, right?
Yes.
For
Ready?
episode number 202 for the Metal Roundtable. Want to say we appreciate all you guys that were watching. Lots of comments today. Appreciate it. But for that episode, metal
So
will prevail. Happy Thanksgiving.